rural sectors, and there are many ministries at the central level, at the state level, and there are various non-governmental actors which are participating in this. Okay. So, it is a very, very ambitious program that we have, okay. And we expect there are two components, one is the rural part, another is the Grameen part. Okay. The main question that we want to address here is, in this program, are we doing things in scientific way, right? So, Swachh Bharat is all about managing waste, and this is all for making sure, okay, this is all to make sure that our life becomes better. The question is, are we using science and technology? Do we understand the science and technology of Clean India? And if we do understand, are we actually implementing it to make sure that the Swachh Bharat program essentially becomes a successful program? Okay. After all, why we are talking about Clean India? We want to make sure that whatever diseases which are related to not keeping clean are prevented. We also make sure that our natural resources and the environment is protected. We make sure that we do as much recycling as possible. At the same time, these things should be very simple and they should be very affordable. Okay. So, these are the real challenges that we have to make sure that the Clean India program or Swachh Bharat program becomes successful. Now, you see this slide, every day when we get up in the morning, we make sure we plan for filling up our stomach. Okay, everybody does that, but rarely people think about how are we going to empty our stomach, which is a very, very important aspect, and if we ignore this, filling up our stomach and keeping us healthy is going to be more and more challenging. And this is why Clean India program is very important. If you want to keep us healthy, we must get good food, and in order to get good food and good water which will keep us healthy, it is important that when we get up in the morning and empty our stomach, how do we do that? And rarely we plan for it. And this Clean India program is essentially all about that, whether we do it in the rural area or we are talking about in the urban area. Okay? And because we have not done that properly, today we face a situation wherein I am not in a position to drink water or take water from any of my water bodies, be it river, be it pond, be it tap water, and we all rely on this bottled water. Why do we want to rely on this bottled water? The main reason is that we somehow feel that whatever I drop from my body comes back into my water which I drink from that. We call it a toilet to tap connection, and this is the thing that we need to make sure that we have. Now, so far what we have done is we have somehow tried to bury this somewhere, okay? And we have used science or technologies or methodologies, okay, which somehow keep things under the carpet. Now, if you keep it under the carpet, you need a very big carpet, and even if you keep under the carpet, someday that carpet will tear off, or somebody is going to open that carpet and it will come back to you. Okay? And that is the reason we need to worry about it. Okay? And our entire economy will depend upon how we manage our waste. It's very important to do this, and somehow we feel that spending money on the waste or the activity that is absolutely essential for us to do in the morning, we ignore it. We do not plan for it. We feel constructing toilets or making sure that the waste is managed is a wasteful expenditure. Why should I spend on that? But if you don't spend on that, then your other activities become more and more expensive, and your quality lifetime also goes. So it has a huge impact on the economy, and that is where I am sure the Prime Minister realized it, and he is actually sensitizing this, okay, at the national level, and that's a great success that we have achieved. Now, if we do not keep our surfaces properly, eventually it gets mixed up in the water, and through water that kind of waste comes back to us, and that is where we need to have a look at it. we are fighting against open defecation. This is also a question that we need to understand. What is meaning of open defecation? Many people that I ask, okay, even if you provide that in a toilet, they say, no, no, we are very comfortable doing it outside. Now, we have to understand this psychology, and we really need to integrate that psychology into our new vision that we want to make our country open defecation free. What does that mean, open defecation free mean? Okay? So, we have various technological options that we use, be it soak pit, be it septic tank, or we allow the sewage, we construct the toilets in the towns and let our sewage flow into the open drains and through open drains into the ponds, into the rivers and water bodies, and that it comes back. Okay? And if you want to have solution for that, those solutions are very expensive, because every town has to have a sewer network and then sewage treatment plants. And right now our country statistics are such that we don't even treat 5% of the sewage, okay, which gets generated into the country. So, from where are we going to get those resources? How will we manage money, okay, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, how do we make it sustainable? Okay? And I would say, so far the methods that we have adopted, they are very short-sighted methods, and the money that we have spent is almost like if you get a deadly disease and you think that I have an aspirin with me, and with aspirin I will be able to cure that disease. And this is something which is not going to happen, and we have to really have good vision, good understanding, good science behind the Swachh Bharat program, and some of those things that I will like to highlight in very short. Right now what we do is, all our food essentially comes from the soil, and then we eat that food, and where do we send that waste that comes from our body is into the water body. And as a result, all our water bodies are completely polluted, and in fact from north to south, east to west, wherever you go, be it any lake, be it any pond, or even the underground water that we talk about is no more potable, is no more drinkable. Is this the situation that we would like to have, or we need to have? Now, if I have to reverse this, obviously I need very expensive solutions. I need to create sewer networks, sewage treatment plants and things like that. Is this going to be sustainable? So, the mistake that we have done in our urban centers, do we want to repeat that for the rural settings? And as of now, 70 to 80% of our population is still in the rural setting, and only 20–30% we can say is in the urban setting, and we do not want to imply. Even in the urban center, we have given less emphasis, and we always say our resources are limited, but I have to construct a pyramid like this. Okay? Now, can we construct a pyramid and starting from the tip and then eventually make the base? And this philosophy is not going to work, and that is why we have not. So, right now, even if it is a very challenging thing and we have to spend lot of money, our approach should be that I can only construct the pyramid if I start from the base and not from the tip. Okay? So, this is where we have to really think about. When we do this activity in the morning, the God has made this organism, most of the organism, wherein the two streams get separated. Okay? It is we with modern science, so-called modern science that we borrowed, or the technologies that we borrowed from the Western culture, is that we end up mixing this and add some 5 liters of water into it. And as a result, neither the water is usable, nor the two streams which come out. These two streams, I call it, one stream I call it sugar, another stream I call it as salt. Right? Both salt, sugar and water, all the three are important, but when we mix it, it is neither sweet nor salty, and the water is not good as well. So, we have to really come up with science and technology wherein we make sure that our toilet systems are such that these three things are not mixed right at the source. Particularly for the rural society, this is very important, because 80% of our problem of Swachh Bharat, it still lies in the villages. Towns, of course, we have to have. And we have to remember that if you are in an advanced stage of disease, right, then the treatment is very different. Obviously, you need Apollos, you need AIMS and things like that. You have to go for high level of treatment. But somebody who is healthy, I would like to propagate a different kind of approach. Better we live with good quality life, do pranayam, do yoga, do exercises, and make sure that we don't become unhealthy. So our rural sector is still in that situation. Urban, maybe we still have to look at in a different way. Okay. So this particular approach that we need to talk about. So when we are talking about sanitation, okay, our main problem is we want to do this activity with privacy, with dignity, okay, and with safety. That is why we want to talk about sanitation, and toilet is a solution for that. If you really look at what is toilet, toilet is just an enclosure or something more than that. And so far we are looking at toilet essentially only as an enclosure so that we can do this activity with safety, privacy and dignity. But the more important challenge that we will have in times to come, because if you don't think about what we drop from our body, what happens to that? How are we going to manage that? So the future of sanitation, or what we need to do for our country in the Swachh Bharat, lies in what gets dropped from our body, what happens to that? Do we allow that to get mixed with water, or we treat it right at the source and use it, recycle it as much as possible? It is with this philosophy we are proposing that waste that gets dropped from body, and when we say body, including our businesses and industries, because industry also drops something, right? It should be separated and treated right at the source. That's the kind of philosophy that we have. And particularly for the rural setting, we want to make sure that this becomes an opportunity rather than a burden for us. It should relate to agriculture sector. So the nutrients that get released from our body, we should be possibly throwing that or sending it into the terrestrial environment, onto the soil in a shortest possible way. Make sure that people are engaged with it, so that we create more and more opportunities, employment opportunities. Like any other sector, service sector, this is also a very big service sector, and we should make it, we should not be afraid of it. We should make sure that we do this with dignity and employ or engage as many people as possible into a big sector, and that will generate, and I will give you some numbers how that is going to happen, and then of course we will have the employment generation and environment protection as well. It is in this context we have been working on the different kinds of toilets, right, wherein we make sure that the three things, the toilet is such that the three things that we use for washing and the two streams that gets discharged are remain separate right at the toilet level itself, so that our problem is completely of different kind. So this is what we are talking about, the different kind of toilet systems, okay, wherein the toilet pot itself is designed in such a way that the two streams get separated, right. Right now our toilet pots are designed in such a way that the two streams get mixed, and then we add on the top of it water. Then second thing that we also want to have is, once it gets dropped and we wash it, those two things are also separate. So we are designing new kind of toilets wherein this happens, okay, and we have tried this at number of places, and of course installation purpose, it can be mobile, it can be stationary. So depending upon the various kinds of uses, we should go for it, okay. So we tried this at number, including for the Indian Railways, okay. I'm sure you are all aware of the big problem that we have with the Indian Railways. When we go and use the toilet, we are comfortable using the toilet, we are only worried about that enclosure, but don't worry about what gets dropped into this. So the challenge is basically what gets dropped, that needs to be managed, and much more needs to be done for that. So we have done number of things and number of toilets, installed this and use this at number of locations. And one of the big thing, we are in the Ganga Basin. In Ganga Basin we have many big agglomerations for few days where crores of people assemble, right. How do you do their sanitation? So we use this kind of toilets at they can be installed very quickly and use. The main thing is not just this enclosure that you see, the main thing is what gets dropped is separated and processed right at the place where, so we do not require sewer line or anything of that kind. Okay, so we have done this number of, and I'm sure our challenge is basically to make the difference in terms of what kind of future toilets that we have, and that's our big problem in Swachh Bharat. Okay? Now, no matter whatever you do technology, what is involved is either you need to spend land, or you need to spend energy, or you need to spend human resources. I think we would like to go for a technology or a model where human beings are involved more and more. Unlike the thing that you have in mind, you want to make sure that nobody gets engaged with it. Only thing that we have to make sure is that the people are engaged in a very dignified way with this process. Ignoring this is not going to solve our problem. So almost, and that's one big thing our Prime Minister has done, he has sensitized everybody about this problem, and once we are sensitized, I am sure we will be able to find solutions to it. Okay? It requires toilet, you know, in your houses, even if you have toilet, it requires operation and maintenance. If you do not maintain it properly, the toilet doesn't become usable anymore. Okay? So this, on an average, our estimate is it is going to cost every individual, if you really want to manage, like you, in order to fill up your stomach, you need $100 in your pocket. Similarly, if you want to make sure that the India becomes clean and this problem is solved, we have to make sure that everybody has 10 to 15 rupees every day, okay, on this particular activity, and that amounts to a huge sum. If you are talking about 1.25 billion people, 125 crores people, as our Prime Minister always talks about, 10 rupees per day or 15 rupees per day means we are talking about 1250 crores expenditure per day on this. Okay? But the good part of it is 50 to 60% of that is on human resources, right? And that means we can also think about 650 crores of revenue available for employment. So it can be a big employment sector, provided we make sure we use proper science and technology to engage people in a meaningful way. So it's a very important sector, and we should not ignore this. It's not only Clean India, but it also relates to our economy and how our water bodies, including Ganga, Ganga is our culture. In fact, every river we call it Ganga, right? So it's Ganga, though it's a symbol, we are giving priority. In my opinion, all Indian rivers, and when we talk about rivers, rivers are not without underground water, rivers are not without ponds and lakes, rivers are not without the wetlands that we have. So all of them together is what will bring us Clean India, and that's very important for us. Okay? So concluding, I would say that we need inexpensive solutions, but we should not compromise on the quality of it, right? So quality of the solutions is very important. Every cheap solution is not going to deliver us, right? We want cheap solutions, but not compromising on the quality of the solutions that we have. And this is the big challenge that we are facing. There are no easy options. Either we have disciplined life, or we should be ready to use expensive solutions. Okay? So we have to have, and as I said, where we have already messed up, like in urban centers, we have no other options but to use energy extensive solutions. But in rural sector, we can train people in such a way that every village, 1 or 2 households are dependent for their livelihood on this activity. So they don't have to migrate, they can get their employment. Only thing that we have to make is, we have to make this a very respectable, very dignified job. And that means we need to use science and technology in such a way that the people who are engaged in this kind of thing, they feel dignified, like when a driver is, you have a car and you use the driver, that's considered to be a good job. Why not we consider these also to be good job? Why not we develop appliances? Why not we develop toilets in such a way that this is done in a very dignified way? Okay? And we need to make sure that we use these resources which gets dropped. As I said, to me, in scientific way, it is a sugar and a salt, right? So these are the two sugar streams that we discharge, sugar and salt. We should not be throwing it as a waste and mixing it with water, rather use it as a, and it's possible provided we manage the toilets, provided we invent the toilet in such a way that this is possible. And there are many attempts that are going. So I'll stop at this point, and I have 2 of my colleagues who are also equally experienced in this kind of aspects, and they will like to give their advice on the different kinds of technologies that can be used for the Swachh Bharat. So I will conclude here. At the end, we will have some question answers and discussion. So I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. Venkateshwar Rao. Okay, he is from ISRO. He has worked on various remote sensing technology. As I said, as much as we need technology to achieve things, we also need to do monitoring of this. What is our status on that? And for that, we use various kind of remote sensing technology, and I am sure he will be able to throw some light on what ISRO is doing and what kind of options and why do we need to do such kind of things. I invite Dr. Venkateshwar Rao to give his speech. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. Well, I'm not really, the organizers, when they requested, they want me to talk on this particular Swachh Bharat session, but I'm not literally going to talk on Swachh Bharat mission. I am going to talk on another mission called Clean Ganga mission. Basically, it is on how the space technology is helpful to helping in creating awareness about the clean Ganga. So I'm not literally talking on Swachh Bharat, but it is a clean India. It's a clean India. Clean Ganga is also part of a bigger part of this particular mission. So I would like to talk on the clean Ganga part. Well, this Ganga basin is known to everyone. How important is the basin, which is about 28% of country's landmass, and which encompasses 11 rivers, which is a transboundary in nature, which is traverses around 2,500 kilometers, which has got 14 major tributaries, and which has about 43% of Indian population. And the rainfall varies from 39 to 200 centimeter, average rainfall being 110 centimeters. So let me come back to the issues. This particular basin has got a rapidly increasing population, rising standards of living, increased industrialization and urbanization is a major issue. And then there is a lot of sewage, pollution due to industrial waste, sewage, organic waste, and also garbage, human dead bodies, animal carcasses. These all adds to the sewage problem, I mean the pollution problem in the river. And 0.9 point source pollution from the catchment areas. And there is also threat of global climate change and effect of glacial melt runoff on the Ganga flow. And as our coordinator, this consortium of IITs have been working and propagating Aviral Dhara and Nirmal Dhara. So this Aviral Dhara is a continuous flow. Basically, that is under threat because of the climate change. So how do we really address this? So Government of India has really launched a national mission for clean Ganga. That is the implementing wing of National Ganga River Basin Authority, but the overarching program is called Namami Gange. So we really look at it how this the current day modern technologies can really address this. How abating how much pollution can be abated, or whether would be able to monitor it, then how do we do it? So to ensure the objectives of the whole NMCG is to effectively abatement of pollution and rejuvenate the Ganga. So in the past, probably this is not a new. When you go back in history, I mean 1980s onwards, there is an efforts, Ganga Action Plan 1, 2, so several National River Coordination Program, Quality Program, River Quality Control Program. but they have all have been done in a piecemeal. So now the government wants to try a holistic approach, entire the basin as an approach. This particular program differs from other as that they have been only trying to work on how much is sewage networking and how to control the pollution to stop the industrial waste and as well as sewage waste. But now this program has been designed based on the holistic approach, the river basin approach, to maintain the minimum ecological fold and environmentally sustainable. So this is an interministerial inter-center state central coordination. We can see there are 8 ministries involved in it. Even you can gauge the fact that this present government has changed the name of the Ministry of Water Resources from Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, to emphasize the fact that clean Ganga is an important agenda, a priority. They have renamed the entire ministry, and at the core is the Ministry of Water Resources, which we need inter-coordination from the various ministries, urban development, Ministry of Rural Development, several 8 ministries. So pollution abatement is a major thrust area, river development, riverfront development, guard development is being done, then conservation of biodiversity, river entire catchment as well as the periphery of the river, a lot of afforestation programs, you need to do it. And then capacity, how do you involve the stakeholders? How do you bring them unless and until masses are being brought into the river quality control program, the program is not going to be successful. And then people's participation. So how are you bringing them into the program? And then there are a lot of monitoring activities. So this Namami Gange program is the holistic approach that is about for 5 years from 2015-16 to 19-20, costing around 20,000 crore outlay has been already been allocated, includes ongoing projects and new initiatives, fourfold increase, really the way it is the program implemented in the past, and now you can see that fourfold increase in the financial allocations. And primary focus is on the pollution abatement, moving from river clearing to river rejuvenation. This is the whole theme, buzzword of the whole program. So you can see the municipal sewage management. There are about 118 towns on the periphery of the Ganga. So that is the Ministry of Urban Development comes into picture. So you need to coordinate with them. So these 118 cities, how are the municipal waste? How do you reduce it? How do you treat them through and then let the water to come to river? Then river surface cleaning, industrial pollution. There are about 690 very critically severe industrial pollution comes from those in critical industries. So how do you control zero discharge, zero effluent discharge from them? And then crematoria, connecting people with the river, quality monitoring. The CPCB has been monitoring at several places, but the monitoring quality will help you to how this river quality changes from time to time, and that will help you to devise the program. So that is where our space technology is coming into picture. So we thought we could do a great bit in that in inputting our important critical inputs. Then biodiversity conservation, afforestation measures. There are bioremediation techniques are being talked about, innovative ways. You know, these weeds, but to certain extent bioremediation works, but bioremediation becomes invasive, it won't be able to help it. Then other concept, Aviral Ganga. So this is what I'm just coming to our space technology support. So we have a water quality monitoring. So we have a aircraft, we have a satellites, several satellites keep coming. So with that, whether we'll be able to do quality, any kind of especially physical impurities, physical turbidity, color, and temperature. With the help of that, you can find out what is the quality. Then hydrological monitoring and evaluation. Then geomorphological monitoring of the evaluation of the river, and then we have a bioresource monitoring. As I said, monitoring aquatic plant invasions, algal blooms, riparian vegetation, forest cover changes in the catchment, forest fragmentation and degradation, how it is happening in that, and a comprehensive geospatial database. For any, this Namami Gange program has a program called Ganga Knowledge Center. So we need to have a foundation database so that entire database along with river quality data comes into picture, so that entire whole program is managed. So we have envisioned the space technology, that we create a geospatial database like historical satellite data, high resolution imaging, multispectral imaging, aerial data, providing a contour up to 1 meter, and then map all the towns with the high resolution data so that all the network is so this is what the geospatial data is all about. Then water quality monitoring is that quality based assessment, water quality parameters. We have a turbidity, I will come to that aspect of it, and catchment delineation of the stretches. Whole Ganga is planned to divide into stretches and then treat stretches in a wholesome way so that whole Ganga gets cleaned up. Then webcams, instrumentation tools, integrate them and integrate satellite communication so that a real-time water quality flows into that. And river restoration support, modeling studies, visualization. These are the few areas where we have envisioned for the entire whole program. I would like to cover that. Yeah, this is what portal we have done on our ISRO's Bhuvan portal. Entire Gangetic Basin comprehensive database, be it on the land use land cover, be it on the soil, be it on the drainage network, be it on the urban sprawl, how the urban cities are growing, what is the soil, what is the forest resources, what are the drainage network, what are the canal. Every database of the Ganges has been at a very good resolution, has been done. These are the so many layers of different scales have been ported. It's called Bhuvan Ganga portal. These are the basically essential for making a comprehensive plan for the Ganga. And then in addition to that, so this has been developed, these about 1169 towns are there, and the panchayats are there. They are using these apps and providing the inputs. And this is how the input comes. You can see this mobile app, you have a sewerage network, and this is the picture of that. This information comes like that, flow. And this is what the app, in the presence of minister, this app was opened and the crowd is being used. And similarly, ghat construction, we have recently under development, because there is a lot of riverfront development is going on, and how this to monitor that ghat construction, a crowdsourcing or mobile application is being developed. And now just come to the picture, how the water quality from satellite data can be done. You can see this various water bodies, water body status based upon the vegetation, based on the turbidity, based upon its quality status, it appears differently. You can see from dark blue to black to red. So these are basically because of sediments, because of vegetation. And you can see some more examples. Different static water bodies, there is how they appear. Based on the status of their quality, water quality parameter, they appear differently in satellite images. And so these are the basic 5 parameters from satellites we can calculate. That is the total suspended solids, color dissolved organic matter, Secchi disk depth, chlorophyll, and temperature. So these are the parameters at different we can see that we have a world view satellite, we have a Landsat satellite, and these parameters at different wavelengths where they are very sensitive to these particular parameters. So this satellite can give you these parameters. And you can see many all over the world, many satellites, you can say the green shows that very high probability that this very highly favorable. So many satellites are available which can be roped in to calculate on a periodic way, because unlike the static water bodies, the river flow water quality is dynamic in nature, continuously keeps changing. So for that you need a periodical monitoring. So we need to take the help of the many satellites for that. And you can see what we have done is a campaign. The most critically polluted stretch is from Kanauj to Kanpur, which is around 600 kilometers. So we have taken that as a priority area, and we have taken the satellites data, and we had a concurrent ground truth campaign. We go with a spectroradiometer to measure all these parameters, and then take a samples and collect it, and then try to correlate with the reflectance, and then map the entire quality of the river stretch during that particular period. You can see this, how the water quality of near Allahabad, Varanasi and Kanpur, how this water quality map, and these are some pictures of that, and how the quality mapping has been done from different dates. So this is from some stretch near Kanpur, and this is what our field campaign photographs it shows, field campaign, and then this is the basic curve we develop, and based on this curve we identify, we interpolate it, and then we try to use that to gauge entire, you can see this, you can fix it, the qualitative information to quantitative based upon this particular ground campaigns. And then also ISRO has had tie-up with American aircraft, recently with NASA aircraft, hyperspectral radiometer, hyperspectral imager we have flown across, especially near Buxar, Bhagalpur and Howrah. So this is we are trying to understand how, because in literature shows that hyperspectral, because very narrow wavelength it provides, it highly sensitive to water quality, certain water quality parameters what you can get from the broadband bands. So we have flown an aircraft with a special instrument to study the water quality, especially these stretches. And these are the photographs what we have collected. Ground campaign has been done when it was flown, and this is the spectra we obtained, and then this is the stretch of image of the river near Buxar, and that is what we have done. So, but ultimately our interest is these are the water parameters which are being already generated. These are the around 13 stations which are continuously the water quality on every 15 minutes water quality is being generated by CPCB. That we wanted to integrate through a model like this, a simple model, a remote sensing based water quality and field measured water quality into using discharge and geometry of the river. We wanted to generate a very generic water quality map on a periodic basis which gives you a common one can understand. So now we are in a process of developing this kind of a very generic water quality map of the Ganga. So so far we have implemented so many tasks, generation water quality periodically being done, a GIS database been done, mobile apps have been done which are helping them to quality information being gathered, and also the guards have been monitored, and these are some of the kiosks we wanted to establish. These are the comprehensive vision, but whereas the red ones are only where we are able to implement right now. We are in the stage of developing these other applications as well. So this is what portal and a frequent monitoring and the constant water quality map and integrating the crowdsourced information, you can generate a very comprehensive water quality information. Thank you very much here. I will just stop here. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for the presentation. We have the next speaker. As I said, if you want to keep India clean, we need various kinds of things. Like we have domestic or individual activities which contribute to the pollution and dirtiness of the country. We also have equally important role from the industry side. And one of the biggest industries, particularly in the Ganga basin, which pollutes, and also other places, is the leather industry. And we are fortunate to have with us a right kind of person from that sector, Dr. Chandrasekharan, who is the director of CLRI, and they are looking at how we can make sure that this particular industry, the pollution and the waste coming out of this industry, is minimized and managed effectively. So I request Dr. Chandrasekharan to give his presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. The previous, very good afternoon. The previous speakers did speak about the clean India, even the rural and urban sector. In fact, I mean, Dr. Rao, I mean, he spoke about the region, the Ganga basin in and around Kanpur is a target area for implementing this Ganga regeneration. In fact, we come very close to that there are about 450 tanners in and around Kanpur, and we now look to work with them. How do we look for their sustainability? Friend, I'm going to talk about CLRI's work, R&D output in terms of cleaner and greener technologies for the sustainable development of leather sector. Before going into it, just a brief about this sector. See, we are now looking at a target of about 27 billion turnover in the next 4 years. So from a current 11 to 12 billion US dollars, this sector. We have the leather that is there around approximately around 2 to 3 billion now. We are now looking at processing about 6 billion square feet of leather. And we have an employment opportunity. We look at that, nearly about 2.5 to 3 million. We have an opportunity to get about 6 million job opportunity for our people, especially the weaker section of the people. So this industry cannot afford to be missed, and these are the kind of targets, what we are talking about for different ones. The footwear, the leather product is going to be one of the largest product that is going to come out of leather. And as we say here, the critical challenge here is the environmental challenge. How do we make this process a sustainable one? That is where now we are looking at, this is the current discharge capacity of about 120,000 cubic meters per day. That is what the capacity of the effluent that is coming out. We do have, there are several common effluent treatment plants all over the industrial belts, and we are now looking at how economically and environmentally these treatment plants also could work. And we are now looking at, there are a lot of challenges. The salt is one, the chromium is one, and another, the large volume of sludge, the solid waste that is coming out of it. As somebody said, managing these wastes effectively is going to be a solution. But we are now looking at, there are 3 or 4 different approaches where we all talk about sustainability. Let me look at it. There are, of course, 3 phases of sustainability. We are looking at the social sustainability, environmental, and economical. And of course, all 3 are essential for any industrial sector to grow. And since this session is limited to clean, and let me concentrate on environmental sustainability. And we have end of pipe treatment, wherein in 1997 itself, when the Supreme Court ordered closure of more than 600 tanneries in and around Tamil Nadu, we are the 2 national laboratories, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute as well as the Central Leather Research Institute, went down to every one of these sectors and made special address to their treatment systems and ensured that they comply to pollution control norms. That is how we revived the sector at that point of time. But subsequently, the Pollution Control Board, both the central and the state government, have come out with different measures of containing. And today, we should say in Tamil Nadu, no wastewater is discharged outside. In fact, 100% the tanneries in Tamil Nadu are connected to zero liquid discharge. That means they use the water and then recover and then recycle using reverse osmosis. So these are some of our, I'm sorry for not so legible this. There are several environmental measures, as I said, the environmental end of pipe treatment measures, where we look at reducing the sludge, also improving upon various treatment options that goes with the minimization of sludge and also enhancing their operation capacities. In most of these technologies, we also look at how economically we can treat these effluents. Subsequently, we also work on several clean process and product technologies. I'm going to talk here about, there are about a series of technologies what we developed, and we are looking at enzyme-based or lime-free technologies, and also we have dry tanning and waterless chrome tanning. And let me talk about the enzyme-based liming process or lime-free process that talks about the conventional use of lime gives tons of sludge And whereas if you could resort to your bioprocessing methods, you can avoid use of conventional lime, which so that by not only you are getting into bioprocess, you are avoiding chemical, but also ensuring that the large volume of sludge that is being generated in out of this is reduced. And we have a technology here which are ready now for commercialization, and in about 2 years time we expect that this is going to change the total face of this industry, especially with that. And subsequently we also have something like a formaldehyde free synthetic tanning material. Again, when we talk about it, we also look at some of the chemicals which are going to be harmful, especially formaldehyde is one many of the chemical industry people might be knowing. So we have developed a formaldehyde free tanning system, and also we are looking at a dry tanning where a chrome tanning additive which has been found. This is going to be a game changing technology where we are now looking at avoiding use of salt during my chrome tanning process and also use of water. So that means it's a dry tanning, and we are now ensuring more than 99% of the chromium fixation. So this is again followed by a process which is now we are going to almost all places, especially the Kanpur, Kolkata, Jalandhar and several parts of Tamil Nadu as well. This is what we talk about the waterless chrome tanning, which is totally redefining my chrome tanning, which is conventionally a process where about 30% of my chromium salt is going down the effluent. And now with this process, we are not only avoiding 2 stages of my leather process, especially the salt, what we call as a pickling, the acid and salt being used, and also during the tanning, we don't use water at all. It is a floatless or a water-free tanning system, and we ensure 100% chromium fixation. So that means no chromium is let out in the effluent. So this is, as I said, a complete elimination of water, no discharge of wastewater, and high chromium content in my leather. What's going to happen in that process, the quality of my raw material that is coming out of after this process, the value is enhanced. The tanners are happy that they get a better product, and with no cost for environment. So this, the success of this is, as I said, we are now taking it to almost all the clusters of this, and now we have international clients in Africa, especially Ethiopia, South Africa, Europe, in Netherlands, Brazil, Vietnam, almost all these countries we are taking up this technology. And subsequently, as you see here at various places how we have done. Apart from that, as our speaker said, managing the waste is also one of the effort what we need to take. While we are looking at in-process control measures, now we are also looking at the waste that is coming out of this industry. You must be aware that the leather sector itself uses the byproduct of a meat industry. My hide or skin is coming as a byproduct from the meat industry. And now, anything that comes out of my leather process, the waste, so I am looking at the trims of or what we call, of the leather waste. So that is converted into a fiber and blended with cotton, made a yarn, and with that several products are made. And this is a technology what we have now. Very recently we have transferred to a Delhi-based company. They are now making several of these products from the waste, and that is a regenerated leather what we call. And apart from that, there is several of my collagen-based waste that is coming out of my leather processing. We are now converting them into high-value gelatin and other biomedical. We have a surgical sutures, collagen wound healing or a burn dressing materials, collagen sheets. There are several of these things as we see here, and we have several technologies which are of high-value technologies which will come from these wastes. These are the biomaterials. As I said, we also look at the zero wastewater discharge processes, where we are now looking at an electro-oxidation is one of the steps, where we are looking at several of these processes. The wastewaters are treated using an electro-oxidation, wherein my biological oxygen demand and chemical oxygen demands are addressed, and subsequently that water is recycled during the other in-process measures. Thereby, I reduce the solid waste as well as the liquid waste that is going out. And this again, this technology is one of the successful technology. Commercially, we have explored its return on investment as well, and it is an alternative solution for reverse osmosis, which is going to be a more expensive treatment measures. And we have this also demonstrated in 2 of the tanners, one in Kanpur and another one in Tamil Nadu. And these are, as I said, where we address to that as an issue. This is the equipment setup we have in this, and it is a viable one. As we say here, the return on investment is about 2.5 to 3 years, the investments that goes for this. And especially in my futuristic one, let me give you a minute video where I'm going to just you can connect an audio, there is no audio. So this is a process where the fresh skins from slaughterhouse, as you see here, and usually it is about more than per kilo of our hydra skin, an equal amount of salt is being added to preserve. But now we are having a totally a saltless curing system, where you would see here, we are now looking at certain liquid polymers and some of those things, as a solution, where as you see here, they just dip the raw hide or skin and then they pile it, and it's just easy to apply, and then they pile it for about 6 days or so at a room temperature, and you would see this can be preserved without salt for up to 6 months also. But interestingly, after 7 days, we just see the hair is coming out of this. So this is a 2-in-1 advantage what we have noticed. When we use this as a technique, and now we get, my hair is also removed out of this. So I get a completely, the unhairing, which is going to be a more environmentally challenging process in the leather. This is now addressed here. At the same time, I can preserve this material for about 6 months. So that is what I'm saying. So within 7 days, as you see here, this is coming on. So this is something which now we are looking at, but with all these technologies, I'm sure, once these things are collectively, we are as an institution, we are looking towards several of our technology mission programs of the Government of India, where we are still working with the Ganga regeneration, especially with the Ministry of Water Resources for the Kanpur region, and of course with several other ministries to take up the leather sectoral programs to the newer heights. I thank every one of you for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar. I invite the audience to participate into the discussion. Those of you who have any questions or comment, please feel free to raise this. Yes. Please introduce yourself, that will be nice.
Myself, Rohit Kumar Mishra from Allahabad University as a postdoctoral fellow. So your application of the leather tanning is the good, excellent, but it is in application in the industry. Applicable at present.
Yes. That's, as I said, all these technologies are now implemented in the industry. What we say, the level of absorption of many of these tanners could be at varying levels, but the technologies have been commercially demonstrated to them. Especially my waterless chrome tanning is the one which is a game-changing technology. Nobody in the world has achieved this. We have done it. As somebody says, this technology itself is made in India. That's the reason why now we are looking at many of the leather making countries like in Africa, Brazil, and Netherlands are coming to buy our technology.
No, sir. Technology is good, but is it an application at present? In Kanpur, if you go see the Ganga and near about to Jajmo, water is the black now. How is it possible, sir? Technology is good. Application
Yes,
is
it
good.
is.
Practically in laboratory sector.
Well, it is the job of the law enforcing agents. Like if it is a pollution control board, which is true. When I say now in Tamil Nadu, no wastewater is discharged from a tannery. We have 100% zero liquid discharge, reverse osmosis has been kept, so they reuse. So it is now with every region, the pollution control board authorities have to enforce the Pollution Control Board norms, the Central Pollution Control Board has laid out the norm for that leather sector, what is to be done. And it is common for everybody. And it is now and we are saying as a national research institution, we have technologies available, the industries have to adopt. And there are hiccups in a sense. Let me tell you, if somebody has to adopt some of these things, they may have to modernize some of their units and all. The government of India is coming forward to implement some of these technologies at a what you call, with a reduced, investment cost. The government is subsidizing the environmental technology fund. They are with a fund. So these industries now have to take this and come forward to do it. That is what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you.
I think probably what he wanted to know is, can you cite one or two examples of the industry where it is actually used?
Right now, let me tell you, the waterless tanning has been given to more than 50 tanners in Kanpur. So this is a very recent development of within 2 months. Some of them have produced more than 200 tons of their materials using our technologies commercially. We have exploited, we have totally demonstrated them. In fact, for want of time, I have not given their testimonial. It is not only environmental friendly, in fact, it is saving them 20% of their cost with the chrome tanning material, which is an imported material. So how one should do away with it. And now the treatment costs are coming down because they are not letting down any of these effluent. So it is a win-win situation for anybody to adopt some of these cleaner technologies. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Thank you so much, all three of you. My query first is to you, sir, Professor Kare. Now, you mentioned about this new model of waste engagement, rather. Now, this kind of development of the toilet system separate from the salt and the sugar, you have already developed such a model, and then what is your vision of this as a networking system in a village? For example, are you envisioning that all the toilets are going to be connected, and then there is night soil industry, and whether there has been any pilot project on this, if you can kindly elaborate. My second query is to Dr. Rao. Thank you so much. Now, this water rejuvenation. Now, what are the concrete ways of rejuvenating Ganga and other water bodies? And if you could kindly elaborate. And finally, to you, sir, about the new technology, green technology, sir.
Yes.
To you. Now, what kind of community partnership, because working with these tanners,
Yes.
now it requires a lot of ways of community partnership, and possibly it is not just an industrial solution, the
Yes.
work of voluntary organization, and if you are also collaborating with this kind of civil society groups.
Okay, I think I'll start from myself. We actually have been using this kind of toilets at a relatively large level. As I said, hundreds of thousands of people use in the Magh Mela or on the Ganga basin. We are also using this in the villages. Okay, like for example, under the Namami Gange program, the government of India also has Ganga Gram Yojana, because the idea is also to make sure that all villages which are along the side. So obviously, it's difficult to have sewer network and things like that. So we need to talk about different kinds of solutions. So we are actually implementing. Idea is not to create a network solution there. The idea is it should be completely decentralized at the household level, but the whole environment is created in such a way that we use technology, but along with that, culture and social aspects also are integrated into it, and it generates into a human resource development and manpower there, okay, so that people don't migrate. And that's what I said, our vision is every 1 or 2 household should depend on for their livelihood on this activity without the social stigma, right? So the technological intervention should be such that this is not considered as a bad job or as a dirty job, because what is the idea? Idea is our waste, we do not want to see, we do not want to touch, we do not want to smell, right? So as long as the toilet achieves that. No smell, nobody has to touch, nobody has to see. I don't think people are afraid of then. Like for example, when you're traveling on the road, the tanker ahead of you may be carrying that. You don't mind that, right? So we need to create those kind of solutions right at the village level in a decentralized way and convert this fecal matter into a usable product which is used right there, which is required for that. That's the vision that we have, and it is related. That is where I said employment, agriculture, and sanitation. These needs to be related, and we close the loop of the nutrient cycle right at the local level. That is the vision, and slowly it is expanding into this. There are of course challenges, but it is expanding into this.
Yeah, this river regenerating, river has got its morphology, river based upon its river course keeps changing because of siltation. Could be so many reasons in the upstream catchment. So the satellite data what helps you to map the river in very high resolution picture, and not only that, but it will help you to understand how the river is behaving over a period of a time. Because over a period of a time there are population pressures, industrial things. So river keeps changing its course because of silt, especially Himalayan river. Up till Varanasi, river behaves in a different way. Beyond Varanasi river, because of tectonics, a lot of silt keeps coming and river changes meandering. So these satellite pictures helps you to understand the morphology of the river, so that when you take up a riverfront development or floodplain zonation, so you can really regulate the river in such a way that river is continuous. I mean, river flow takes place uninterrupted. So that is one way of doing it. Other one, as you said, guard development, communicate, participation, industry, as they were talking about zero effluent from the industries, and also sewerage network. There's all, by virtue of all these measures, the river quality gets changed. So satellites helps you in monitoring what is the impact of those on the river turbidity, river color. So these we are supposed to monitor them on a periodic way and map them, and then see are they really impacting whatever the measures taken on the ground. These are all measures, whether impact there or not on the through satellite data we do that.
Yeah, there's one more. Yeah, I have it. About this, there are about more than 1,700 tanneries in our country. Definitely, as an institution, singly we cannot go to every one of them. We do have different outreach mechanisms. Definitely, there are social welfare groups are there into it, industry associations of those clusters, because we go and talk to them about the benefit and all, and we talk to them, and many of the places, as we say, when the law enforcing agencies have put up the stricter norms, automatically they are forced to comply with it. And apart from that, there are several of the buying houses, the people who buy from them the product, especially the international buyers. They also post them the corporate social responsibility, where they are forced into making these products in a cleaner environment. Slowly these things are now coming up, process audit and those measures, certification, and everything is coming up. And this is one sector where now we are looking at, and we are now still working with several of the non-governmental agencies, especially in the Kanpur region. Now we have set up a mission mode program to work with them. Definitely with those things, and we have set up a time frame of about 2 years to get the Cleaning Act done for the entire sector. We hopefully do that.
I think we'll take the last question from here, or maybe just I think we will have to close it at some point of time. So we'll take, maybe I'll allow 3 questions, the 3 hands that I'm seeing. Okay, yes. First you, then you, and then you.
Yes.
Be brief.
Good afternoon to all of you. My question is, Dr. Rao sir. Sir, can you tell me how can we get the Bhuvan Ganga app on my mobile phone? Does it is available on Play Store?
Yeah, it is. Bhuvan Ganga app, there are 2 apps developed. Ganga is the portal, lot of data in public domain, you can use the data. Okay. As far as the apps are concerned, it is there in the portal, you can download on, if your mobile is smartphone, simple,
I have.
yeah, then that can be downloaded.
From where?
Bhuvan portal itself.
Bhuvan portal, not a Play Store.
No, Boon. App Store we have not yet. No, earlier we have put it, first water quality information is available in App Store, Google Store.
Okay.
But this cart which is under development, the second app is under development. But otherwise you can also go to our website and go to Boon portal and you can directly download it.
ओके ओके एंड मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि सर का जो टॉयलेट वाला ऐप वो है हमारे माघ मेला क्षेत्र में आता है हर साल और हाईली अप्रिशिएबल थैंक यू
Thank you.
Yes.
My question is Dr. Chandrasekhar sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for a very good lecture. You mentioned just now that for tanning process you use the biological method to clean it because enzymes are being used for that. That's a very good method. It is a eco-friendly method also. The enzymes particularly which has been released, it is a microbes originated. But which microbes you are being used for releasing the enzymes? Because particularly most of the microbes are involved in leather itself, also in the surrounding this thing. How the enzymes are being released from which microbes actually? It's anaerobic or aerobic because this is very important step.
Yeah. Yes, we do have technologies. I mean, in fact, I mean, both are there. We have both anaerobic, versions, and we have different sources. Some of them are from the soil. I mean, we get some of them from other marine and other sources also. We have, because now we are looking at the challenge here is for the fiber opening. The lime, usually the conventional chemical process, the lime is used to make my fibers open up so that my other processes takes up. Most of the enzyme-based one, right now the technologies are available for the hair removal. Okay, I can remove my hair, my used lipids. There are several other enzymes, lipid, lipase-based enzymes and other things we can use. But the challenge is, how do I make my fiber opening happen? So we have other, my proteoglycan and other things have to be slightly disturbed so that I get my fiber structure loosened up, for which now we have a technology. So the challenge of what right now I'm talking about is for those fiber opening processes. So as you said, yes, we are now slowly looking in the paradigm shift from chemical to bioprocess. Yes.
Okay, just the last question from you. Yeah, be brief. We need to close it.
Sir, do you have any technological solution for domestic waste dumping? In every household, a lot of waste is generated. How you are going to treat that? Because we are dumping them in city outskirts. And how we are doing that post-treatment. And another one, within college students, do you have any engagement program as part of Swachh Bharat?
Yeah, I think both questions I will answer in a positive way. The details I will not be able to give, but I think the technologies are available, and the Swachh Bharat program definitely promotes the engagement of the school people, college people, and I think we can get into the discussion on that a little later. In the interest of time, I would like to close this, but you are very much encouraged to participate in the Swachh Bharat through your school, through your college. There are specific programs that are available, and domestic waste treatment technologies are also available. We need to develop a culture for that. Culture in the sense both socio-cultural and technological environment needs to be created so that we see our cities and villages very clean. With this, I would like to thank my colleagues for excellent presentation and the discussions that we had, and also to you all for actively participating, knowing fully well that we are sitting in between you and the lunch. Okay, so thank you very much for this, and I hand over the mic to the organizers.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, and we are getting late for lunch. With this wonderful Swachh Bharat session, we are completing our today's plenary sessions in Sir C.V. Raman Hall, Nehru Plaza 1. And now it's time to felicitate our guests. Now I request Professor Anantakumar Giri, Madras Institute of Development Studies, Chennai, to come on to the dais and to felicitate our convener, Dr. Vinod Tare. Now I request our convener, Dr. Vinod Tare, to felicitate Dr. V.V. Rao Now I request our convener to felicitate Dr. B. Chandrasekhar. Thank you for your kind patience. Thank you, one and all.
High-speed data access.
Sir, may I know whose this pen drive is?
Video requirement, that is a combination of this Wi-Fi and WiMAX. This is capable of providing 100 Mbps to about 1 Gbps speed. And usually we call that this 4G technology satisfies something like say magic. Magic means same is mobile multimedia, anytime, anywhere, global mobility support, integrated wireless solution, and customized personal services. So this is also known as the mobile broadband everywhere. But these major drawbacks, what people felt with this 4G, that this data rate was still insufficient because of